250 kilometres from Sydney, as the crow flies, and 2 kilometres north of the seaside township of Old Bar, lies the southern entrance of the Manning River. This is my backyard. I live on the south channel of the Manning River, and I've lived on this river for 30 years, and I've listened to and witnessed 30 years of very questionable management of this area. Unique in many ways, the Manning is one of only a handful of river systems in the world with a dual delta system. Also interesting to note is that the Manning River is one of only a few Australian mainland rivers that has not been dammed for water purposes. Also, rather unique is that it is one of only a few Australian rivers that receives annual winter melting snow. They reckon that oysters are the canaries of our waterways. Well, it seems that our South Channel canaries are waiting to die. Oyster farmers have deserted this area after a 100-year association. It seems that nobody can guarantee the water quality, and it seems that none of our governing bodies really care. Bit like what's happening to our western rivers. In November 2017, Farquhar Inlet closed to the sea after being open for 7 years. This 7-year period was a testimonial to the locals who took it upon themselves to work with government bodies to arrange the purchase of a dredge using community funds, and to inspire our local government to formulate a dredging strategy and to finally do something about the failing condition of the Manning River. Farquhar was open during a flood event and would still be open to this day if maintenance dredging and recommendations from government studies had been investigated and adhered to. I remember Farquhar being closed before this opening. The rains came, the South Channel was the colour of chocolate, and I remember the tidal flow slowing over a period of weeks, months. I remember the rise and fall of the tide slowing, and I remember pushing a stick in the mud at the edge of the river and waiting, and not seeing the tide rise or fall. I remember the riparian weed beds along the edge of the South Channel died, disappeared. Our estuarine canaries died, and I remember the bream, the flathead, the other fish with those horrific sores. Red spot disease, they called it. God knows what other effects it had. Fecal coliform must have been at an all-time record high. And I remember with amazement and anger the attitude, the responses of the bureaucrats when questioned about the need for Farquhar to be opened. Since this closure, the bureaucrats' call has been the same. Thank you for your concerned interest. I have forwarded your correspondence to, here's your hat, what's your hurry. All of the big money boys and the heavyweights in Parliament deny any jurisdiction over Farquhar, and all pass responsibility onto our local council, and yep, you guessed it, they don't have the funding, unless the state government throws a few scraps their way. Set up for failure before they start. Let's face it, do we elect and pay these people not to do what the community wants? There's something wrong with this picture, isn't there? Farquhar Inlet needs to be opened, sooner than later.